Hi, I'm Sandra Schlafer with King and Companies, and I help you with your Blue Cross Choice Medicare Advantage plan. If you haven't already received your 2026 ANOC, which is the Annual Notice of Coverage Changes with Blue Cross, you should be shortly. There are a lot of changes in 2026, especially with UCare no longer selling Medicare plans, as well as a handful of other insurance companies. So if you like your Blue Cross plan, it just renews as is. There's nothing you have to do. And it just continues on. Your plan will be similar in coverage as it was last year, though I do want to go over those changes. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to bring the ANOC. And I'm going to turn down my picture. All right, so let me bring up the ANOC. All right, annual notice of coverage changes. So this is for the metro area. And, the annual enrollment season starts October 15th and goes through December 7th. If you're not going to be making any changes, there's nothing that you have to do. So the insurance premium is going from $96 to $108.70 a month. The out-of-pocket maximum for medical went from $3,000. It will go to $3,800. And then it does increase for if you go out of network as well. Looks like your primary care visits remain at a zero copay, and your specialty copay will go from $35 to $40. And then if you stay overnight in the hospital today in 2025, you pay a $200 copayment per stay. In 2026, it's going to be a $400 copay per stay. But keep in mind, it's not a per day, and you are capped at that $3,800. We'll go through the drug coverage here in a bit, but there was no deductible for any tier drugs last year. There will be a deductible of $400 if you take a drug that is tier 3, 4, or 5. But remember, you are capped at $2,100 in any prescription costs for next year. So, tier 1 drug, to think of those inexpensive generics, is still going to be a zero copay for tier 1 drugs and tier 2 drugs. And anything that's considered tier 3, 4, or 5, excluding insulin, you will pay that $400 deductible, and then you'll pay your certain percents. So 25% for a tier 3 drug, up 44% for a tier 4, and then 28% for a tier 5. And last year you did pay 25% tier 3, 42% tier 4, and 33% tier 5. But keep in mind, one of the big differences is you have to pay that $400 deductible first if you take any drugs tier 3, 4, or 5, which is consistent with the other care insurance companies. There is no donut hole. Remember, that was removed January 1st of 2025. And this just restates what your maximum out of pocket, going from $3,000 for medical to $3,800 for medical. This is out of network. Just want to make sure you stay in the Blue Cross network so you don't have out of network services. And then these links, we will send this out to you electronically as well. These links won't be live until after October 1st. If you do have any other ambulatory surgery center, it was $150 copay. Now it's going to $250. Chiropractic services, meaning non-Medicare, are not covered. Dental implants are not covered. You pay 20% for any type of diabetic therapeutic shoes versus 15%, but keep in mind you still have your out-of-pocket maximum for medical. Durable medical equipment is 20%, and there will be a preferred tier for glucose monitoring and specific brands to get this 20%. If you take something other than these brands, then you may have to pay 30%. Emergency room is going from $140 copay to $150 copay. If you stay overnight in the hospital, regardless if it's a psychiatric hospital or not, it's going from a $200 copay per stay, not per day, but per stay, to $400 per stay. Occupational therapy is a $40 copay, up from 35, as well as opioid treatment. Outpatient diagnostic radiology was a $100 copay for like CAT scans and such, and now it'll be $200 copay. Um, any type of outpatient services, hospital services, then it is instead of $175, it is a $300 copay. Outpatient mental health is instead of 15, it's $20 copay. Any observation stay is going to $300 copay. Outpatient substance abuse is going to a $20 copay. Outpatient radiology services is going to 20% from 15%. Out-of-network cost sharing. So if you did see a provider out of the network, coverage is at a 50-50 coverage. There is no out of over-the-counter benefit in 2026. So if you have anything, any vitamins or anything that you want to get under the current Blue Cross plan for the quarter, you have $50 allotment. But as of January, that benefit is no longer available with Blue Cross. And then physical and speech therapy is a $40 copay, increasing from 35, as well as podiatry. And non-Medicare covered podiatry is not covered. Prosthetics devices, it looks like it's increased coverage to 20% versus you had 30% you had to pay last year. Psych services is a $20 copay up from 15. Skilled nursing is going to be a similar benefit, and these typically are the same with all insurance companies. In most cases, you pay a per day copay for days 21 to 100 of $218 versus last year $214. If you have any type of worldwide emergency services, it's $150 copay versus $140 last year. And that holds true with urgent care. And then these links, like I said, will be available after October 1st that you can click on. And then again, the deductible is for prescriptions, which is a $400 deductible, and that's only applicable if you take a tier 3, 4, or 5 drug. Let's see, that's all the same. This goes up higher for tier 4, down for tier 5. And there is something new and let me just kind of look here. There is something new that started in 2025. So if you are taking prescriptions and they're not affordable, even though you have like a $2,100 out of pocket for prescriptions next year, up from $2,000 in 2025 in January, then they do have a payment program. So once you get all settled, you get your new ID cards and everything, then you can surely call Blue Cross on the back of your ID card, and then they will get you more information on how to set that up if you're taking quite a few prescriptions or prescriptions that are not affordable and you need to do it more on a monthly basis. And then the rest of this is just pretty generic information on the ANOC. So with that, I think these are the um, different languages. So I'm going to come back to you and stop sharing my screen. Okay, so again, if you're going to keep this plan, we don't need to know anything. You don't have to fill out any paperwork. Everything just renews as is. Everything is the same except for those benefits that I've already highlighted and the pricing, and that's it. So if you do have any questions, surely give us a call. But just to let you know that there's about 2 insurance companies that are selling business for Medicare next year, new business. And those would, depending upon their network strength, could be a fit, maybe not a fit. But if you like this Blue Cross plan, it just renews as it is. Okay, well, thank you for your business and have a great day.